Don't tell me. There's no way. Oh my god, we did it. Okay, this is fine, I guess. I just need to take out the scramble, to be honest. Should be okay. Oh my gosh, she's are chunking. Am I barely not? Oh my gosh, literally barely not. Dude, this is going to be so tight. Oh yeah, we should. I think. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we pulled that off. That was nuts. Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. I have been working on a new Great League team, and to be absolutely honest, I haven't been a big fan of Great League in recent times, mainly because there's just a lot of really strong meta Pokemon, and I don't know, we've just done Open Great League so many times already at this point into Season 11 of Go Battle League, so I kind of usually played the other cups. But this time around, I decided to use a new Pokemon that I acquired through a trade at GoFest, and that is Tapu Fini. It's a legendary Pokemon that you can only get under 1500 if you trade with someone with lower friendship. You can definitely get this through Ultra trades. I don't actually know if you can get it with a best friend swap, but the lower your friendship, the better chances of getting one under 1500, and I happen to get a pretty solid one from JR Honda, so big shout out to JR Honda. And so I played around with some pairings, and I end up coming up with Shadow Drapion in the back along with Bastiodon. I think Tapu Fini and Bastiodon have really solid coverage. Their two biggest weaknesses that breaks the core is Nidoqueen and then also Registeel to a degree. I think Nidoqueen is much stronger against these two. Registeel is a little bit more manageable with Tapu Fini, but we do run into plenty of Nidoqueens and Registeel in this meta, and we're still able to climb quite a bit of points. I think over 200 elo. We're going to break down how this amazing duo makes magic work, along with Shadow Drapion, which is one of the spammiest Pokemon in Great League. Before we get into the rest of the footage, a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you would also like to have early access to my strategies and lineups, or see behind the scenes footage of my battles, feel free to sign up in the link down below. We're going to start off with one of the hardest leads, and that is going to be Trevenant. Trevenant is a really tough matchup for this Tapu Fini, but I'm going to swap straight over to this Drapion, and I personally have found that Aqua Tail is much better for utility than Sludge Bomb. There's only a few situations where I wish I had Sludge Bomb, but the vast majority of the time, a lot of players end up still shielding the Aqua Tail even if they think it might be a Sludge Bomb, and Aqua Tail just makes a lot of these matchups a lot more easier than you would imagine, forcing a lot of shields on the safe swap, which is ideally what you want. You either want to have switch advantage or shield advantage. Both would be amazing too. But at this point, I'm going to just water gun this thing down. Now, obviously, if it's like a Trevenant double seal, you know, with a Registeel or yeah, pretty much just Registeel in the back because they already showed their Galarian Stunfisk, then I'm in trouble. In all likelihood, this is something that's going to be weaker to Bastiodon, which is why they're still staying in here. And here comes a Wall Ray. A great catch attempt by them to try to catch a Flamethrower, but I did anticipate that. And now I know that my Bastiodon does survive the Earthquake. And then here comes a Trevenant, and we're able to hopefully finish it off with a Flamethrower. So despite a really bad lead, still making some play, especially due to that Drapion safe swap. What's up, girl? Alright, here comes Drapion against this Jellicent here. Let's see if Cranberry will stick around for a few more matchups or not. Yeah, so here comes the Scrafty. Definitely the fighter you want to see here. You do end up tanking the Power Punches decently well because it's not the best move for damage. And we get a shield. That's a huge shield because you don't really have to shield anything that this Scratch is going to throw at the Tapu Fini, so having a shield advantage here, again, really solid if you cannot win switch advantage. And I am going to throw this Moonblast. It's going to do a good chunk of damage for neutral against this Jellicent, and I'm going to respect the potential Shadow Ball, which is exactly what happens. And now here comes my Bastiodon. Now, obviously, if they have two fighters in the back, I'm in a tough spot, but assuming that they probably wouldn't because Trevenant leads would be really tough for them, yeah, this would be a little better. Obviously, I'm debuffed at this point, so not a great spot to be in. But this is going to be a very high value shield because I really don't want to be messing around with this Nidoqueen here. with my Tapu Fini. They do get off 2 Earth Powers, so again, Nidoqueen a very strong core breaker here, but we do manage to get to this Surf at the very last second here, able to take out the Nidoqueen, and we do have to force this Jellicent to throw here, so they do throw a move right here, and it's going to be a Bubble Beam, but Bastiodon can finish off the job. So again, this team, in my opinion, really strong, even when you run into core breakers like Nidoqueen, and we'll see more later on, like Registeel as well. Tapu Fini and Bastiodon just cover each other's weaknesses really well, and Trevenant is just kind of a Swiss Army knife where it has the ability to deal with pretty much anything. Maybe like a Mud Slap Gastrodon you don't want to see, but for the most part, things that you see in this meta, you're really not going to really run into any hard counters for Trevenant here. Alright, so my opponent does swap over to their Sableye here, and seeing this Sableye safe swap and seeing them stay in Bastiodon against my Tapu Fini and come in with Sableye makes me think that there's a good chance this is Bastiodon, Sableye, and Medicham in the back. So I want my Bastiodon to be pretty low on health. If I take this out if I take out the Sableye too early here, I'm going to be in trouble because the Medicham is going to farm more energy off of me. So I leave as little farm as possible here. I don't get a flamethrower off, but that's fine. And assuming this thing has Power Punch, we'll be in a good spot because they're not going to throw a Psychic. And I can still wear this Medicham down quite a bit here. And we do throw a Crunch that does debuff them. And I swap over to my Tapu Fini. And a really great catch from their Bastiodon to really anticipate that. But we do get off another Surf here. And Drapion should win CMP over Medicham because Medicham is super bulky. And we do have the Aqua Tail ready. Again, Aqua Tail coming in super clutch here for this team composition. I highly recommend it over the Sludge Bomb. Especially when you have shadow damage too, like even in resistant matchups, it's not that bad. Azumarill is kind of annoying because you don't have that Sludge Bomb option on the Drapion. And in this situation, the Bastiodon is kind of the Azumarill counter because a lot of Azumarills are not carrying Hydro Pump these days. And even if they are, you can tank a Hydro Pump. And Drapion has decent play against Galarian Stunfisk. Whoops, I just dropped one of my external hard drives. Because of that, I don't even need Switch Advantage nearly as much, and now they pivot back over to their Galarian Stunfisk, which is really great for me. I'm going to just Water Gun all the way down here. And let's see what they come in here with. And they come in with the Azumarill, so I'm going to shield the potential Play Rough here. My guess is they're probably weak to Tapu Fini and back, so I'm going to attempt to Water Gun down, but they do get to another move here. It's going to be another Play Rough, but that's okay. I go straight for the Moonblast. I probably should have safely gone for the Surf, to be honest. There's almost like very little chances they don't shield that. But we get off 2 moves anyway. We grab both shields, and that's okay. And they are running Ice Punch, so a little better in some sense because I have a shield. Obviously, Ice Punch are going to do a little more damage and then that Power Punch, but at least their counters are not ramping up in damage. And here's the best part. So they do actually catch, this is not the best part, they catch a Crunch, but the thing is, Aqua Tail is a little bit less energy, so it's much harder to anticipate, and so they probably thought they could count down or they could have thrown a move, but instead, because I was one Poison Sting earlier on the Aqua Tail, and that's the first time I'm seeing it, able to catch my opponents off guard. Alright, Empoleon, this is actually pretty rough, because there's not too many things that you can do against it, but Tapu Fini is not terrible, and now they come in alone Ninetales. My guess is when they come in alone Ninetales as a safe swap, they probably have another Charm in the back. So because of that, I'm just going to farm this all the way down, never have a reason to throw against this. I'm going to throw the Flamethrowers, and I'm going to potentially try to pivot out here. My guess is they're going to be, they're going to have like a Wigglytuff or something in the back here. So I'm going to pivot out here, mainly because, I'm going to no-shield this, it's going to be a Drill Peck, mainly because Drapion can handle this Empoleon at this health range as well. But they actually let the Empoleon go through, and here comes the second Charmer, and this is fine. I can just throw a Smackdown, and they're just like, even Poise this thing down at that point. Alright, Registeel is a tough one. So we're trying to going through the different steel matchups. This is probably one of the hardest ones. It is a core breaker for both Bastiodon and Tapu Fini. Empoleon is to a degree, but Empoleon doesn't tank the water guns and surfs that well. And they let the first surf go, which is really crucial because now they're forcing, they're shielding against the second surf. I typically just stay in here and then swap out eventually to draw out something in the back, and it ends up being a Swampert here. So that's actually kind of nice, and I get to an Aqua Tail. Let's see if this is Hydro Cannon or not, and it actually ends up being Earthquake. So they spend all their energy there, which is fine with me, because now I'm going to do as much as I can with this Tapu Fini, and I do throw the Water Gun here. And they let the Swampert go, and so here comes the Registeel, and unfortunately I don't get to the Surf in time, but Registeel's pretty low, and I figure they're pretty weak if they have 2 Bastion counters at back to Bastion, and that's exactly what it was. So sometimes you will lose that if they have like, I don't know, like a Fighter on back or something. Like if they have Troll Bastion counters, it's tough, but typically speaking, the team wouldn't be that unbalanced because they need something for like Trevenants and stuff. Alright, Cofagrigus, this is going to be an interesting one. It's pretty neutral. You definitely have a great matchup with Drapion, but obviously you lose that matchup once you swap. We do draw out the Fighter, though, which is really crucial. And we grab a Shield as well, which is nice. Unfortunately, this is not going to be great, so I'm going to be forced to Shield the Psychic here. And going to come in with my Bastion here, and they do throw a move here. They actually threw Dark Pulse, which is kind of surprising. I'm surprised they wouldn't throw Shadow Ball there, because most Bastion users wouldn't shield, but they do go for Shadow Ball. On the second charge move there, I'm going to go straight for the Stone Edge. Unfortunately, they do outpace me a little bit here, which is, yeah, not going to be great, so I don't really feel like spending the shield, but unfortunately, they get a lot of farm in return. So I do shield up this, and unfortunately it's a Dark Pulse, which really threw me off. Maybe I lost track of counts there, or I just thought there was almost no way they wouldn't throw a Shadow Ball, but it definitely paid off for them because they do have the Sludge Bomb on their Drapion. So great games to my opponent right there. The neutral matchups are a little bit tougher, right, when you have Cofagrigus in the lead. Typically you still want to swap out in case they have a Fighter in the back, which is exactly what happened there. But it does make a lot of these matchups a little bit more interesting in how you play it out. I think I just didn't play out very, very well there. So they come in Wall Rain into my Bastion. This is fine. I don't really need the Bastion at this point because the Swampert's going to do a ton of work against it. So I'm going to just keep smacking this down. If it's an Icicle Spear, I survive it pretty healthily, and they know, so they go straight for the Earthquake. I'm going to just charge up a little extra energy and throw. I don't want to get hit by an Earthquake. And they actually shield, so that's actually kind of a big shield. So I'm going to count shield as well, because there's almost no way that's not an Earthquake. And now they come in with the Skarmory. Don't want to see the Skarmory against my Tapu Fini, mainly because I don't want the Swampert against the Drapion. We are going to start throwing Crunches here, and it's not going to be enough to KO just because these poison things aren't doing too much. Trying to finish this off, and I do get to serve just in time here, which is crucial because the Swampert is quite low at this point, and I could just Water Gun it down and finish off the Wall Rain as well. Swampert lead, you pretty much should expect a Skarmory in the back in most situations with a second Pokemon as a pivot, typically a Sableye, but in this situation it's a Wall Rain, sometimes it's like a Drapion, kind of varies. Alright, Nidoqueen, this is a really tough one. So I do grab a shield early, which for my opponent was just nice. Most don't expect the Aqua Tail. And now this is one of those times where you kind of wish you had Sludge Bomb. But at the same time, if you look at this damage, my Drapion actually still able to take out this Alolan Ninetales. Maybe they're storing some energy, but either way, we are able to win Switch here, which is nice. Now, the unfortunate part is Nidoqueen's still very, very good against my backline. So we're going to have to, do our best here and see how we play it out. I am going to just tank this Earth Power here. Maybe not the best idea, I don't know. But we do have a Sableye in the back, which is really nice. Sableyes don't have a ton of place to go against this team. Bastion still wins, even though it doesn't have any super effective moves or anything like that, or resistances. It's just super bulky. Drapion has a good time. Tapu Fini has a good time. So anytime you see a Sableye, which is pretty common in Great League, you'll be in a good spot with this team. Definitely try to maximize my energy here and optimize my charge room timing. Able to get this last Surf and take out a Shadow Nidoqueen. Shadow Nidoqueen, again, one of the hardest leads for this team. But like you see right there, it is very manageable and beatable if you know how to play out your matchups and assuming they don't hard counter you everywhere throughout. Once in a while, you will run into very hard counter teams and you can only do so much there. Alright, I found that most Deoxys Defense will throw that Thunderbolt first. They're not going to debuff themselves, and I like to swap here because Drapion's probably going to lose whatever matchup is at this point, and it's going to be a Wall Rain, so that's fine. Most Deoxys Defense leads are going to have Drapion counters in the back. Again, this Aqua Tail really catching people off guard, forcing them to shield. We do get a shield there. Visual glitch, you don't see it, but the shield did come out, which is huge for this team. Alright, so now we are going to try to smack this down, and I think I lost track of counts, otherwise I would have shielded this Earthquake, but that's okay. They come in with a Sableye. Again, Sableye has very little areas to go against this team, which is really nice. I do have to watch out for them trying to catch, and that's exactly what they do there. Unfortunately, it did not work out, and now we get the Moonblast off and take out Sableye, despite tanking an entire Earthquake from a Shadow Wall Ring. Alright, Lurantis. Not a very common Pokemon you'll see, to be honest, but I thought this was a really interesting matchup, and it's actually kind of annoying to face with this team because that superpower has a lot of play against both the Drapion and a lot of play against Bastiodon as well. So, in my mind, it's actually a little bit more annoying to face than a Trevenant in some ways. They actually come in Sableye here, which kind of makes sense because they don't really want this against the Tapu Fini, but Drapion has a very solid matchup there, even with the Aqua Tail, and I go for this last crunch here, which is nice. We rather grab a shield, or we take out the Lurantis, and here it comes. I'm going to shield a potential superpower, which it is going to be a superpower here, and then here comes a Cofagrigus. This is going to be interesting. Now, Cofagrigus is pretty solid against Tapu Fini as well, so my play here is whittle it down enough so I can water gun it down, and then potentially throw a Surf at the Lurantis. I do have energy charged up on the Bastiodon, which is nice, and they throw all their energy, so unless they have 2 moves saved here, we're in a good spot. We go straight for the Surf. I believe I survive a Leaf Blade at this rate too, and yeah, they don't even get to it. Alright, going against my friend Tommy Love TV, it is going to be a Lickitung, which is kind of annoying, honestly, for this team, because Lickitung is very bulky, and has that Power Whip, so Tapu Fini is not in the best spots. Azumarill is the bulkier of the water fairies, but Tapu Fini is definitely a little bit glassier in that regard. I'm a little nervous, because once you see a Lickitung with a Medicham counter swap, there's probably a good chance there's another counter use in the back. It's a pretty popular line these days in Great League. I do have to respect the Psychic, which it is going to be that, and this is probably just going to be a Power Punch or Ice Punch, and that's exactly what that is. I think we actually saw the Ice Punch earlier, so I shouldn't be surprised about that. We're going to throw the Moonblast here just to do something. Coming with Bastiodon, and honestly, even if I caught a Power Whip, this is pretty much over. Scrafty is going to do work, and those are just one of those team comps that you just can't beat, and that's okay. Anyway, overall, a really fun team, especially if you have access to all these Pokemon. If you do not, so you could definitely run a Drapion that's not Shadow variant. You can definitely run a non-XL Bastiodon. The one that's probably hardest to acquire is the Tapu Fini, especially if you don't have someone to trade to roll under 1500. If that is the case, you can definitely run a Azumarill with Play Rough and Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump is really crucial here because, again, Registeel is such a core breaker, so you kind of need to do quite a bit of damage against the Registeel first. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share, subscribe for future content, hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video, and I'll catch y'all next time.